And welcome back to Sports Check on this Monday morning. Hello, December. It is the second day of the final month of the year. And yes, what a year it's been. A lot of sporting conversations we're going to talk through. Well, we're joined by Lucy Mora as our sign language interpreter. We'll be talking athletics. It's holiday season, something that always happens. The holiday comes that put up by Athletics Kenya. We know that also at times they work even with the National Olympic Committee of Kenya. But this time it's only athletics, focus on developing the youth. There is a huge focus. What's the short-term goal, what's the medium-term goal, and what is the long-term goal for these camps that we have seen, and it's also some of the success stories that we've come. We've got the Director of Youth Development and Athletics Kenya, Barnaba Korir in studio. Barnaba, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, and as we get into, first of all, just let me just engage you on 2024. First of all, yesterday morning, Kimaru Sawe gets onto marathon running on debut, clocks 2 hours, 2 minutes. Maybe a reaction to this from somebody we've seen as a strong half marathoner throughout.
Sawe started as a cross-country runner. Then, of course, he didn't run much track and field. But on the road, he's been doing very well. And I saw the way he was running yesterday. He's very, very talented. He has run very fast, I think, around under 59, 21 kilometers. So he's an athlete that actually will also challenge the world record in the future. As a debut, he did very well. I saw him running another race in Europe. I was there. And the way he ran and, the kind of character he is, I figured out that if he one day runs the marathon, you can see a very good result. So I was not really surprised, but I'm happy that he did that. Of course, as Kenyans, we always do not lack the top athletes that come by any time. So this is not a big surprise, but it's something good for this country.
Well, I wouldn't mind having the headache of selecting a team for Tokyo, with the kind of marks that we're seeing, because most of the athletes now will be running between now and, I think, end of March, April.
Yeah, I think the Athletics Kenya now is looking at those who will be running the World Championship. So we start now in this season. And then ultimately the final team will be selected in April. But I think before we go home for Christmas, Athletics Kenya will come up with a team that will be pre-selected before now April. And then April, of course, we determine now who is going to be the team for the World Championship.
Well, at least now we've got something out, out what to expect, who to look out for, and so that, they can give their 2025 calendar very well. 2024, it has been the Olympic year, and it was a breakout year. Let's talk first of all, about Beatrice. But that double gold plus also, becoming this athlete who's moved from the junior ranks, breaking through, that heartbreak in Aarhus, Denmark.
Yes.
That was a big one. And then going on to win the seniors cross country and finally a champion on the track.
Beatrice Chebet has come a long way. And when we look back, we realized that she was really good from the beginning. We had these camps that was started by Athletics Kenya. And we used to visit her in those camps and the government.
This is Lemotit.
Lemotit, yes. In Lemotit, Londiane. So that's where we used to go and see her. And in preparation now to come up, she also ran the youth competitions and then, of course, the under-20, where she won the World Cross Country Championship in Aarhus. And you saw the way she ran. She has a different mindset, very, very competitive, just like Faith is. And she's a girl also she's a go-getter. She wants to excel. And participating during the Olympic Championship competition this year, we saw what she could do. She won the 5,000 meters, 5,000 meters and then the 10,000 meters. It was an amazing thing. It was something that rarely happens. I think we have seen also Vivian Geriot winning the 5 and the 10 before. So this is an athlete that I think the future is still for her. She's still very young. She has consistently performed in all those years when she was young as a under-20 athlete, and now she transited very well to the older stage. If you look at this program that we have been doing, quite a number of athletes also transited to the senior level. Of course, Manuel Wanyonyi was there. We had also Chipchirjir, 1500 meters, also she's a miler. And quite a number of them we have also Girov and Kimeli, they were in the Olympics also and they did very well. So this is something that at least Kenya has in the short term and the mid term, and of course now the long term is to look at the next championships that are coming, which is especially the Olympics. So, so far the programs that was initiated by our president from at least Kenya, General Tuwe, has borne fruit, and we want to continue with the same one. You have seen also the kind of events that are taking place practically every weekend. Those are the plans and the structures that has been put in place by at least Kenya to ensure that there is continuity, consistency in the programs that we are doing.
Well, very well. Now let's come down to these camps, and since their establishment, from 2017, what were the initial, teething problems? People trying to, believe that you can have these people here, then take them back to school, and that for.
When we started this program, I was appointed to be the chairman or the director of the youth from at least Kenya. And immediately after that, there was the World Under 18 in 2017. So we figured out now that we have the championship here in Kenya, and we want to showcase the talent that we have and perform well, in front of the other countries who are competing in Nairobi here. This was our home soil, and now we have to find out on how are we going to best get a team. So we were given that opportunity to organize the funding from the government, and we say, okay, the best way is to look at the talents from where they come from, different camps all over the country. So we set up that. We are given the resources to start those camps, and that's what we did. And we found people like Mary Mora, who did very well, and that was now the beginning. From 2018, we started now to say, okay, this is the best way we have to follow to ensure that we nurture talent all over the country, so that we don't focus only on one region. Okay. We went all over the country, and we ensure that in every region we had a camp to give a chance to every athlete from those areas.
Well, Barnaba Korir, he's Director of Development at Athletics Kenya. We'll be coming back to this in the holiday camps. Started way back 7 years, and now they have a proper structure. How are they working with schools? Where, can we see more collaborations coming through? But right now, let's move over to and join Joseph Wakungu, who's on location, and he is with Lucy Sinkuli, the Cereal Growers Association, in collaboration with the World Food Program through a project known as Farm to Market Alliance, are offering farmers in Kenya access to market for their produce. So the markets are. Now let's get to see what the developments have been, after the successes of 2017 when Kenya hosted the World at 18 Championships, and the following year in Finland, we saw that some of those athletes transition from under 18 to under 20. But still, even when Kenya hosted the under 20 championships in athletics here way back in 2021, all these athletes came through this pathway. Barnaba Korir, Director of Development at Athletics Kenya. Let's get back to that conversation. Post 2019 or let's say post 2018, what were now the more well explained, after the learning lessons from 2017, 2018, what were the things then now that you were doing whenever a camp was being set up?
Yeah, what we did was that, we were in a rush establishing the camps for the All Under 18 in Nairobi here. So after that, we managed now to plan very well for the World Championship for All Under 20 in Finland, which of course we went ahead and became the world champion for that event in Finland. Lessons are learned. Every time you do something, you learn that you can do it better. And one of the reasons why we keep on succeeding is because that, nurturing this talent and identifying them also was a bit difficult. But now we work very closely with the Ministry of Education, primary and secondary schools, so that we can really identify those athletes who are talented. And we attended competitions for primary schools. We could see how we were working very closely with the teachers. And in fact, some of the executive members we are together in the AK come from the ministry. So we have that partnership with the ministry and the Ministry of Education and AK to nurture talent. And the reason is that most of these athletes who are under 20 come from schools. And therefore, we need also to work very closely with the teachers and also train them on how they can handle the young ones. And whenever we have camps now, we involve the teachers. And these camps is basically done in either primary schools with boarding and also secondary schools, because what we do is to ensure that to protect the integrity and the protection of the young athletes, we involve the teachers. And we engage the school that has accepted to organize holiday camps to be the one who is responsible. What we do is the government supports what we have done so far, which we are very grateful, and gives now the money to AK.
Yes.
The money that we are given is sent directly to the schools where the camps will be. And the principal of that school and the board members also manages those athletes during that period. What we do only is to ensure that we give them the right coaches. We have also athlete support personnel, and for the girls who are there, we have also women coaches. We have chaperones to ensure that everything is okay. And that's why we have never come across problems in those camps, because those are school-based, and the people who are managing are the teachers or the principal from that school. That has really helped us.
Let's go through some things that have come in there. One is, the first one I would like to talk about so that it gets away, is the funding that comes to AK from the government. Just give us the structure of that and how it comes from the sports fund and the budgeting for it.
Yes, at least Kenya came up with a plan and approached the government for the support. And with the idea and the plan that was given, the government accepted to give us the funds. And the funds now is appropriated in such a way that we have a camps in December, April, and August. So we ask for funding for the whole period. That money now is given to Athletics Kenya, who will now send the money directly to the schools. In fact, what we do also is we give the government the account numbers of the schools, the principals, to ensure that everything is okay. The accounting part, we also account for it, but the schools will be accounting for that money, because when the money is sent to a school, then now they have to have discussions with the board members, and then the accounting principals, especially through the Ministry of Education, is looked into that, so that at the end of the period now, we get the returns from the schools, and then we attach with ours the kind of money that we received from the government, we put together, and then the Auditor General audits that money, because it is sent by the government through the fund, is audited by the Auditor General in AK, and then the returns is sent back to the fund, and the fund now liaises with the Auditor General and sends all the information about funding. So everything is done according to the regulations governing the government funding. So when we get money from the government, it is directly, it's a special fund for this purpose only, and therefore it is subject to audit from the Auditor General, directly in AK, not in the fund. So the auditors come to check how the money is used, and then now they liaise also with the schools on how the funds were used. And also on our part, when we give them the money, we make sure that what we require and request the schools to do is to make sure that they give our athletes the kind of food that we require, which we request when we say this kind of food, meat and this, on this period, we also make sure that the food is given. And we have our own AK officials who will be the liaison in the schools also to ensure that the teachers and the schools follow the regulations from Athletics Kenya, so that nobody is walking or not giving the money to the athletes. And on top of that, we give the money to the athletes when they come to the camp, travel to the camp, and go back. Even to buy food and medicine, everything is provided, and to ensure that in that period that they are there, Athletics Kenya ensures that the athletes are taken care of, and that's why it has been very successful.
Now, the other one I want to come in here is the use of schools and the matters of safeguarding. I know that was, and with those who are there, what are the ways that you liaise with the safeguarding of children here?
Safeguarding is something which is going on very well now. It is also a program which was brought recently by World Athletics, that every federation must have a safeguarding officer. In Athletics Kenya, we have an office for women affairs and safeguarding of the athletes. So the safeguarding liaison person, Elizabeth Gaitany, works very closely with the regions, and also where the camps are, ensures that the athletes are taken care of. In case of an issue, she gets that information and then relays back to the federation to discuss if the matter is appropriate to take over, or we can sort it out from there. So it is a very strong structures which have come in now. And the rules for safeguarding is, is taking a different dimension now. It is protected by World Athletics, and if a coach or a teacher misbehaves, then they're subject to penalties from World Athletics, which is very serious penalties, and sometimes even removal from athletics completely. So this is something that we are very happy to have. And you can see now the government is also coming on board, especially as a result of what has been happening to our athletes. Now they want to see the issue of gender-based violence. How do we protect this, especially the girls and also the boys? So we are on the right track, and the federation is doing really a lot of work to protect our athletes. And we are very happy. Also, the government is also supporting that initiative. They have their own initiatives that we work together, and we guide them. Whenever they have their own plans, we also work together to show them how our systems work, so that they can also now ensure that the same information is passed on to the athletes and also the public.
The youth camps now that they're based in schools, one of the things is you have got to do the skills, the knowledge transfer, the coaching knowledge transfer that goes down. How are you working with this? Because at these camps, we may have the coaches who are there who know how to work with them, with the youngsters, but when they go after the holidays, everyone to their school, and you do not want to have that gap.
We are very lucky that we have ADC, which is for training, which the director is Ibrahim Hussein. The way we set up these systems, we will not have any cap, because now we know the athletes, we know the camps where they are training, and what we do is now when they open the schools in January, they have their camps also.
Yes.
They have their competitions. We have now the teachers whom we have also trained to deal, especially to train our athletes and to engage with athletes from every school. So we know where the camps are. So if the camp is in Nairobi here, and we know it is in Rirota, then we follow that and to ensure that those athletes who are in Rirota, where do they come from? And during their competition, we follow that. We have also we have teachers who are following that. We have also liaison officers from Athletics Kenya to monitor how they are doing. And then when they have their competitions also, we are there. And we encourage them. Whenever they need any support, we are there. So we focus on ensuring that we have a follow-up. The athletes that we have now in December here, every camp has to select. They have to do a trial again. The trial that will be done now is to select the teams that will move ahead for April camps to continue to improve. The rest can still remain, but as they move ahead...
Just give us the whole concept of how you're doing it. I mean, that trials.
The trial is very simple. We have, for example, now, I can give you in Nairobi here. This is county of Nairobi. So we have about 3 camps here in Nairobi for sprinters and the others. So immediately after the event, maybe around 22nd, we have a trial. We have competition because they have been training. So how do we test them? How do we know they have done well? Unless we give them an opportunity to compete and see what they have achieved. So we encourage them. So we will have now a competition among these athletes who are there. Then we identify now who is number 1, who is number 2, who is number 3. We will know now those who have benefited from the program. Then we identify them so that we can now follow those ones. Because we cannot just have people in the camp and just say, okay, we had a camp. It is going to be competitive, and they understand. The athletes will understand that it comes now after the camps. You cannot just walk home and say, oh, okay, I have finished the training camp. No, we have to see what you have achieved. And then the coaches who are there every day, they see their performance, they record what they are doing, and it gives us now an opportunity to know who they are. And remember, we have now a system that we record every single athlete. The registration work that we did from by AK recently and is still going on is the system that we have procured from France. It will allow now to pick an athlete, ex-athlete, to follow that athlete, to know what they have done, their performance in every competition, their history. So we know if I say ex-athlete so and so, and then it comes out and tells us what this person has done, where are they. So those are the networks that we are using now to have a meaningful follow-up. We have also hired, as a federation, about 11 staff members who are basically dealing with that, because we have so many athletes, and we want to show that we know each and every person. Even as we speak now, they have a meeting in Eldoret, and they are picking the numbers. You know, you see the photos, even 5-year-old kids. We have kids athletics stand 4 years to 15. So they are taking their numbers also and identifying who are these. When we register those kids now, it is very easy to follow. Even when in 5 years down the line, we'll know, oh, that kid was running here and there. We have the history background. So this is something that is updated. And as we work very closely with AIU, the system we are going to upload now is unique completely in the world. So we are even going to share with other countries like Ethiopia, Uganda, even outside Africa. Because this is a system which is new, they have never used before, and we have so far tested and it's going to work. So that nobody will say I'm an athlete and we don't know of their history. If you are an athlete, we have to have your history and we'll know. If we punch your name, it has to come out and say, yes, you are an athlete, so that you can, even when you are applying for a visa, you don't just come and ask for if you are not an athlete, we will not give you a letter to get a visa. And we are going to work also with very closely in the same system with embassies. So that they know now, nobody can just go and fake the letter. The same documents we work with the registrar of sports in this country also to ensure that the information they have also is what we have. In case there's something that the government wants to do, they have the number of athletes who are there.
Okay, very well. Now, collaboration with schools, because now once you've identified, you've done the trials, and for example, first time we know is decathlon and cross country. That's where you'd have the school games, secondary and also the primary school games. Term 2 games is where you have now track and field, ordinary track and field. How do you work with schools to ensure that this training program that you've taken these athletes through is sustained through first term? By the time they get to the April holiday camp, there is some continuity.
It is sustained because you see now, as I told you before, we have an executive member from the Ministry of Education. That's mainly a director of sports from the
MOU.
So we have an MOU and we work very closely. So whenever we do a calendar of events, we also consider theirs and they see ours on so that it can fit very well. And even this year when they were doing the East African competitions, especially in athletics, we work very closely. And the athletes that were competing there made a team to go to East Africa and also to go to in Peru. Yes, they were supposed to go. So we engage now and say, okay, since this athletes was going to represent the Minister of Education in Uganda, now you have to find another person because this and so has already made the team too. So in June or July, we normally have now a national competition that we actually identify now the national champions for the under 20s. So all the camps, all the counties now, it's not even the camps now, it is about the counties. The counties will come with the athletes who are in the camps to the national level now. So we invite them, we compete, and from there now we identify the best athletes for this country. So
like in the case of Nairobi, so you've got your 3 camps, you will know, yes, they will definitely have to go, there's going to be a clash.
There will be a clash, they have to compete and they have to identify. That's the way it should be, that's competition.
Very well. Now, for the medium term, let's just talk about the medium term plan. Youth Olympics Dakar 2026. What's the progression plan? Because, for example, we know that this is ideally an under-18 tournament, and under-18s now is run at continental level, yes, at the highest. What's the plan for that?
You know, Athletics Kenya is ahead of practically every other federation. We have set up already the athletes. We see now we are working with those ones who are 12, 13, 14, 15 years. And as time goes, of course, now they'll grow up to be those ones. So they are competing. And that's why now they are in holiday camps. The parents or the families or the communities are very grateful because they have started also the same programs. Holidays, they want the children also to be doing something, not to loiter around. So they have taken their own even initiative to develop their own camps, which they call us to go and verify. But they are the ones who are funding. It's not the government. The families, actually, the parents and the community fund those programs so that now the athletes, their children can engage in the same program. So when it comes to 2026 in Dakar, we will have a very strong team from athletics. Because now we have those programs going on. The athletes that are in now are now preparing for that. Those who are older, 18 years, 19 years, now transiting to the seniors, we are preparing them for 2028. Olympics. So that is now a long-term project. We have now the project for 2026, and that's something that we have to think about also now. When we reach there, we have to think about 2032, so that we have continuity. Transition should be automatic. We just move from the kids athletics to youth to under 20 to seniors. Yes. And those ones now, the seniors who are here now will be running the marathon Bandai. So this is how the system works, and I think that a lot of people should learn from at least Kenya for what they have done. Because you see, every weekend, you have an activity going on, and it is involved by at least Kenya to ensure that we work very closely with the partners, we work with the companies to initiate these competitions that they have, so that those athletes now who run the road race, they can continue. We encourage those for the track and field not to run the road race, but they run the cross country. So we have combination of road race and the cross country and the marathons. So at the end of the day, that is why this country will always remain at the top, because of the plans that at least Kenya has.
Well, very interesting that you mentioned that, because one of the things that people are saying, boy child ako wapi anatuangusha kwa mbio. How, I mean, what's your plan, to try and see that, say from the normally, let's talk about middle and long on the track, that there's some revival that comes through.
I don't want to think that there was an issue of boy child. What happened was that the emergence of road races, especially the young guys now 18 to 20 years, they started now going to run the road races and did not concentrate on the track and field and the cross country. So that narrative is changing. We are encouraging now to avoid running the road races to get money, because there's a lot of money in road races, but to stay and continue more on the track. And we have seen now the benefits, because most of them now are coming back and realizing that the more you stay in the track, the longer you survive in the long run.
Yes.
And they have seen that. So what the Federation is doing now is to make sure that we discuss with the coaches, with the managers, and in fact nowadays, if you have 18-year-olds sending to run a marathon, we refuse, because we want to protect them. We refuse even to run a marathon. Let them go and run a cross country. So we engage with the managers, engage with the coaches, and tell them, okay, don't kill these athletes by allowing them to run the road races. Let them sacrifice, teach them to be patient, so that I know at the moment there's a lot of difficulties in financial matters, but we encourage them that you even earn more when you wait, and you will benefit, and then you have a longer career instead of running a marathon or a marathon at this moment when you are 18, 17 years. So that is what is happening now. Otherwise, I don't think there is a situation where the boy child has gone down. The only issue is because now they concentrate on other issues and forgot the most important event. And the girls were coming, yes, the girls were coming up, you see, and they were not subject to running the road races, so they focus on the track and field, and that's why now you see the changes, the flip on the tables have turned against them. But that thing now will balance in the next championship to make sure that our boys also are doing very well and working very closely with their sisters.
Now, let me come to now the field events, because we saw Julius Yego at the Olympics. He had his best throw, I think, in about 5 or 6 years. But what's the focus on that?
The focus on that is that we have realized as a federation also now we need to give much more attention to these field events. Julius Yego did very well, and he acted as an example that there's a possibility that our young people also can do well. So we have somebody like one of the young boys who was in the Itana, who is a Maasai young man who was also throwing very well. We have also Kiprotich, who has done very well. So those ones now we are focused. We are now getting the equipment so that we can focus on those ones. Coaches also are there, both men and women, so that they can focus on that. When we go to the camps, we encourage also to give them now an opportunity, because not everyone can run. We want those ones who have a talent in jumps, like triple jump, long jump, or high jump, ball vault, so that they themselves also have that opportunity. And you have seen, when Omanyala ran, the next year was totally different. We had so many young people who wanted to run the...
I think you had, what, 19 hits?
More even this year we had 25. Everybody is now becoming a sprinter. And if we don't really, even the long distance are not careful, you realize that majority of the people now will be focusing on the sprints because it gets more interesting. And the public also wants something which is fast and, just like in Europe now, they are changing. They don't even want the 10,000. They want to make it even shorter and shorter.
Yes, they're going down to most of the DL events are 3,000 meters.
3,000 meters. They want even to remove the steeplejanes. So those are the things that we have to look at. But we are not saying that we want to kill the long and middle distance, because that is our strength. We want now to elevate the field events and the sprints so that now it is balanced, that every child or every athlete has an opportunity also to excel in whatever they are good at.
Final one is anti-doping education. How much is being done now? I know, and we know that there is the challenge, and we know the presentation you made to the National Assembly and also to the Senate, so we are aware of that. How deep is the education now?
Last week, we had almost the whole week of education by ADAC in Iten. And the most important thing, and which are very important, are education and testing. Because, you cannot test with somebody who have not even thought of what they are testing about.
Yes.
So those are the priorities. To give more education so that our athletes can understand what they should do and not do. Then we have now the testing part, which is going on very well. I have seen the trend which is now coming down as a result of the education that has been going on, and also the testing. So most athletes are understanding now what the problems can be if they don't do what they are supposed to do as athletes. So in a nutshell, we are gaining the upper hand as a federation, ADAC, and also World Athletics, when we see now things are changing. When you see the spike in the results of testing, doping, you realize that it is not because there's an increment. It is because now the systems are working well, and those who have been using banned substances are being caught. At one time, there was very few numbers that came up.
Yes.
And you can see now it's going down. It is not so usual that you get these people. And then when you look at it also, it is mainly, which now we are targeting, is mainly those mid-level road runners who have actually been got. If you look at the track and field, it is, I think this year we have not even seen one or maybe one or two.
Actually, yes, it's a mid-level.
It's mid-level. Those ones have not been targeted, but now they have been targeted now to get more testing than even the others.
Aha. All right. So, Korir, thank you very much for your time this morning, speaking to us about that. Well, insights and things coming through for the top level athletes. We know where their testing is heavy, but none being caught. But it is these mid-level athletes that now we've got to focus on. Thank you very much for being with us this morning as we spoke about the East Africa Community Interparliamentary Games and also the youth camps. Well, time for us to take a break, and after that we shall have Kurunzi Mashinani followed by Tam Rini. Our sign language interpreter this hour has been Lucy Mwaura. Have a good day.